I mean, if this is the life you want, that's fine, and we can just keep doing this over and over, keep sending you to prison. If this is the life you want, you have 4 kids, all with Mr. Norton?
Yeah.
One of them's adopted out. Who has custody of the other 3?
His family.
His family. These kids don't stand a chance. I mean, is this the life that you want for your kids?
No.
At what point in time are you going to step up and break this cycle? Number 26CR43284, the State of Ohio versus Bully and Manning. Ms. Manning is before the court with her counsel, Ms. Diefenbach. Ms. Nicholson, on behalf of the State of Ohio, we're here for sentencing. Ms. Nicholson, anything on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, this is not Ms. Manning's first foray into the criminal justice system. I think this is her most serious involvement. We will defer to the court as to the amount of time the court deems is appropriate. She does seem to have extensive contacts, even while she has been incarcerated, with individuals who themselves are interconnected in the criminal justice system. We'd ask the court to consider that. She has 91 days of jail time credit. There is no reimbursement requested.
Anything from probation?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Diefenbach.
Judge, I did read her statement, and she gave a really accurate accounting of her life. Her mother died when she was like 14, 15 years old, and she had absolutely nobody looking after her. Through her father, she became involved with this man who's twice her age, and he still is in her life. And I will admit, she knows a lot of people that prosecutor finds offensive. However, she grew up in High Point, which is a neighborhood that I think everybody in this little subdivision's got a record. This is all she knows. From the time she was 15 years old, these are the kind of people that she associated with. So I imagine they're still in her life, and I think that's obvious. And Jason Norton keeps popping up, although I think he's incarcerated again. Since I've been visiting her, and she has cleaned herself up, and she hasn't been on any drugs, which are quite available. I know this just from my own clients, other clients. And we've talked about the fact that she was going to go to Marysville, and we talked about what she could do when she went to Marysville. And one of the things I wanted her to do was finish and get her GED. And they have a dog program up there, and she is amazing with dogs. She's had several of her own, and she has trained them, and she's trained other people's dogs. She really is, she's got a skill. If she could just get away from these people that she's been growing up with since she was like 15 years old, she'd probably be in a lot better situation than we are today. And I'd really like you to consider giving her minimum time.
Ms. Manning, anything you want me to know?
I understand I was wrong, and no.
What's it going to take to get your attention, to get you to stop hanging around, if it's the people you're hanging around with, or what's it going to take?
I just haven't had no support or family, and they're just all I really knew, or like anywhere I had to really go, because I got taken away and I was in the system, and I just didn't really have nobody.
Well, when you turn to people, is Jason Norton, is he incarcerated now?
I don't know. That's what Roxanne said, but I don't know.
Do you believe that he is?
If it happened recently, he gets incarcerated a lot.
Well, when you hang around with people that are doing drugs and breaking the law and in and out of jail, in and out of prison, this is what ends up happening. Now you found yourself in a situation where the only discretion I have is picking a number between 2 and 8. That's the limit of my discretion, because this is now a mandatory prison sentence. So you're going to prison today. What is it going to be enough? I'm trying to find out what makes you tick so that you don't keep coming back. I mean, your record's horrible. You're not even that old. I get the upbringing, but at some point in time, you yourself have to make a decision and understand that when you make a decision, there's consequences. So if you make a good decision, there's good consequences. You make bad decisions, now you see what the bad decision, the consequences of that are. I mean, if this is the life you want, that's fine, and we can just keep doing this over and over, keep sending you to prison. If this is the life you want, you have 4 kids, all with Mr. Norton?
Yeah,
One of them's adopted out. Who has custody of the other 3?
his family.
His family.
I don't have.
These kids don't stand a chance. I mean, is this the life that you want for your kids?
No.
At what point in time are you going to step up and break this cycle?
I'm ready. I'm sorry it took me coming to where I'm at to be ready, but like I said, I'm embarrassed that it took me so long to realize what's really going on in my life and where I'm going. And now that I'm almost 28 years old, like, but I plan to change.
Has Hamilton County's cases been resolved?
There's a warrant for a probation violation. Yeah, she did 2 years, was it a 3-year probationary period?
Yeah, they told me I was eligible to file for my motion,
Yeah.
but I paid off my fines and then
Yeah.
lost the house.
Yeah, we paid off her fines, and then this happened. But she did well until Jason got out of the penitentiary for about 2 years, and because he was locked up on another case, not the case that she was on, a total different case. And I followed him to find out where he was.
All right, of course, considered the statements made here today, the pre-sentence investigation, the purposes and the principles of sentencing, the relevant seriousness and recidivism factors. You have not been to prison before, correct?
Never.
All right. Court will order you to serve a minimum term sentence on count 2 of 2 years in prison, maximum term sentence of 3 years. That is a mandatory prison sentence. The court is also going to order, when you're not in jail, where do you live?
I haven't really had a stable place since I lost my house.
All right. All right, the court's going to order you to serve on count 3, 12 months. That to be served consecutive to count 2 for a total of 3 to 4 years. The 2 years is mandatory, the 12 months is not mandatory. You have 91 days jail time credit. Court finds that you're indigent for the purpose of any fines, costs, or other financial sanctions, including the mandatory fine of $7,500. You're also subject to a mandatory period of post-release control, which means if you serve out your sentence, the adult parole authority will supervise you for no less than 18 months nor more than 3 years. If your violation is that you commit another felony, you can be returned to prison for 1 year or the period that you have left on PRC, whichever is longer. That time would run consecutive to any additional prison time that you get sentenced to. The court does find that the consecutive sentence is necessary to punish this defendant. It is not disproportionate to the conduct or danger posed by the defendant, and your criminal history demonstrates that the consecutive sentence is necessary. Now, because a portion of this is not mandatory, you are eligible on that 12 months to receive up to 1 day per month for participating in certain education, vocation, or other programs sponsored by the Department of Corrections. I'm going to leave you with this. Well, first off, you have a right to appeal the court's decision if you're sentenced to the 12th District Court of Appeals. If you want to appeal, you must file your notice of appeal within 30 days of today's date. If you can't afford to pay for the transcript or anything necessary for your appeal, that can all be provided to you at no cost. If you cannot afford an attorney, I will appoint one for you at no cost.
Your Honor, you need to give the Reagan-Tokes language for the indefinite sentence.
I did at her plea.
I think you have to do it as a part of sentencing as well. I agree, you gave it at the plea. That's correct. But I think you have to do it again upon the imposition of the sentence.
All right, she's not eligible for the good time credit of 5 to 15%. You'll be released when you finish your minimum term sentence unless the Department of Corrections determines that you must remain in prison for bad conduct. The court is not involved in that decision. If you're not released when your minimum term ends, you will serve an additional specified period of time and given a new release date. Now, after you've served your 2 years, the court will consider a motion for judicial release on the non-mandatory prison time, which means that this court will then supervise you. So if you have no violations and you follow the rules of the institution, the court will at least consider you for judicial release. Ms. Nicholson, is there anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Diefenbach?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Manning, best of luck to you. Hope this works.
I'm going to come see you tomorrow. I will. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Under Ohio Revised Code Section 2929.13 and Section 2929.14, the defendant Malia Manning was sentenced for a felony offense carrying a mandatory prison term, limiting the court's discretion in imposing alternatives to incarceration. The court imposed a minimum term of 2 years, as required by statute. Pursuant to Section 2929.14c4, the court ordered an additional 12-month sentence on a separate count to run consecutively, finding that consecutive service was necessary to punish the offender and not disproportionate to the conduct, given the defendant's criminal history and risk of recidivism. The sentence is governed by the Reagan-Tokes Law under Section 2967.271, creating an indefinite term of 3 to 4 years, with the Department of Rehabilitation and Correction authorized to extend incarceration beyond the minimum term based on conduct. The defendant was granted 91 days of jail time credit. Upon release, she is subject to post-release control under Section 2967.28, ranging from 18 months to 3 years under supervision. Eligibility for judicial release applies only to the non-mandatory portion of the sentence.